This is an instructional video on comparing integers. Your essential question is, how does the number line help me compare integers? And if we're going to classify that, that's just an explanation. So our first piece is, what are integers? So your integers are positive and negative whole numbers. So some examples would be 2, 5, negative 11, negative 24, 58, 102, and so on and so forth. There we go. So knowing what integers are first will help us when we're comparing them. So now let's take a look at where are integers on the number line. So I'm going to use a number line here to show you, and I'll put arrows at the end. So you have 0. We all know the right-hand side. When you look at integers, it's like the flip-flop, like a mirror image of what's on the other side, but it has negatives attached to it. So how do I interpret the number line? Let me move this up for you. Interpret the number line. Numbers farther to the left are smaller. Okay, so for example, what if I was comparing negative 3 and I want to compare it to negative 17? Well, I want to know which one's farther to the left, or you could think about which one the opposite way, which one's closer to 0. Well, negative 3 is here. Negative 17, if I think about it, I know 17's over on the right side, over here on the positive, so it's the mirror image. It's on the other side of 3 here. So which one's farther to the left? Well, it's a negative 17. And that one's going to be your smaller number. So negative 3 is going to be greater than negative 17. So that's how you compare your integers. You think about either which one's closer to 0 or which one's farther to the left. Now, there's one more thing we got to take care of, and that's absolute value. An absolute value is the distance a number is from 0. Key piece to remember is that it's always positive. If I pull up my Google Maps on my phone and I'm asking for directions, it never tells me to go negative miles. It always tells me to go positive miles. Now, you'll see absolute value denoted by these big lines here. And I would read this as the absolute value of 2. Well, how far is 2 from 0? It's 2. How about negative 3? The absolute value of negative 3. What's the absolute value of negative 3? Well, 3, because it's 3 spots away from 0. So absolute value is kind of a nice thing in math because it's talking about distance. And so in math, sometimes we'll see it and we'll intentionally use it to get positive pieces out of it. As I'm talking about this, I'm realizing there's one more thing we need to talk about. What are opposites? And opposites are the number, the number on the, we're actually going to cross that off. 2 numbers that are the same distance from 0. So for example, if I gave you 5, the opposite of 5 is negative 5 because they're both 5 away from 0. The opposite of 52 is negative 52 because it's on the opposite side of 0. And there you have it.